Let's talk about being salty. Salty Christian. That doesn't sound just a little weird. But let's think about this for a second. You're at a fair. I like fairs, not because I like rides, but because I like food. And you go up and you get one of those big, soft, jumbo-sized pretzels that you find at the fair. And who likes mustard on their pretzel? Okay, there's a few, sheep, okay. You get ready to bite into the pretzel, and then you realize they didn't put any salt on your pretzel. Travesty, unless you talk to your doctor. Or have you ever gone through the drive-thru, and it's about 1:30, and you're just getting lunch, and you're really hungry? And then you are driving, and you reach your hand into the bag next to you, you pull out a French fry, and you chomp on it, and they didn't salt the fries. Oh! And you're already 5 blocks down the road. And you're like going, is it worth it to go back? How do you feel in these two circumstances? You feel overlooked. Somehow, food that you were expecting just doesn't have quite the same punch, quite the same flavor. And there are also other ones as well. Any baker will tell you that a cake, especially chocolate, needs just a bit of salt to have it taste right. Omit the salt, and it's still cake. It's just not as flavorful as it should be. So clearly being salty is important. And forgetting the salt results in blandness, like a pretzel without anything on it. So salt, it's powerful stuff. With that in mind, let's hear what Jesus says. He says, "You are the salt of the earth." So often we hear this part of Matthew's gospel, and we are tempted to hear it incorrectly. It's so easy to hear it and hear it as if it's saying Jesus is the light of the world. And in proof, he does say that in the Gospel of John, but this is Matthew. But here, Jesus isn't saying, I am. He's saying, you are. Not Jesus, you. And notice, very carefully, a very important thing also. Jesus doesn't say, you should be the salt of the earth. He says you are. And Jesus doesn't say, you could be the light of the world. He says, you are the light of the world. That's different. Whether or not I use it, I still am. I just am the light and the salt. So, if this is who I am, what does this mean? Why is Jesus calling me light and salt? Well, let's think about it. Unfortunately, in our world, salt and light doesn't mean that much. It's easy for us to take them for granted, because all we have to do is reach for a salt shaker, and they are everywhere to be found. Or all we need to do is reach over and flip the switch, and we have light. Both salt and light are easy to find for us. Yet let us think about the world, the people who first heard Christ's words. First, think of light. There you are living in stone houses with thick walls and very, very small windows. No streetlights, no headlights. Maybe a single hearth fire in the middle of the kitchen. And if you're lucky and wealthy, maybe a couple of oil lamps. And that's your light. When the sun goes down, everything is in shadows. And in the shadows, there are wolves, and there are centurions, and there's all sorts of other things that go bump in the night. So you can imagine in that world, that dark, shadowy life, having light to be able to see that bump in the darkness was your little one turning over in her sleep, rather than the guards coming to conscript you. Having that would make the world of difference between being afraid and being cared for. And it's the same way as salt. Certainly we need it for nutrition, but more than that. To the first century Palestine, you have no refrigerator. And not only that, you have no Dan's supermarket to go refill your larder when it's empty. You might butcher one thing a quarter or even half a year. And if you want meat on your table, you have to preserve it. If you want fresh vegetables 30 days after you pull them from the field, you need to pickle them. In both cases, if you want to eat, you need salt to keep you alive. Having it means you might actually live, whether it's to push back the darkness or to chase away the hunger. So in both cases, we can see that light and salt are very, very valuable. But more than just valuable, they have a great purpose. To keep people safe, to promote life, to help you see tomorrow. They have a great job to do. And so Jesus says, you are light. You are out there to help people chase away the shadows. You are salt. You are out there to help people feel fed. You have a great purpose. The world needs you. Even when you still want to cover your head with a bucket, the world needs you. Even when you've tried it before and it didn't work, the world needs you. Even when you're feeling tired and there's not one more place on your calendar for one more event, the world needs you. Even when you feel like you might be too old to be of a help, or too young and too small to be in the grown-up world, the world needs you. You are the light and the salt of the earth. There is a great job to do. In Isaiah, we hear of the frustrations of God when the people don't do their work. He says, you do all this worship, and yet you are forgetting to be salty. You are forgetting to carry your light. Looking at our world, looking at our house, looking at our family, would our God respond to us as he does to Isaiah? Will he look at us and go, "You are making me grumpy because I know there's a place for you to serve, but you're choosing instead to hide in a bucket"? Or instead, will our God say clearly, "Here is my child who is living up to all that I gave them, and I am well pleased"? Friends, this week you will each have a chance to be salt and light to someone. I don't care where you are, everyone will have the chance. You will have a chance to bring out their flavor, to enrich them, to preserve them, to light their way. You have been gifted with these qualities from our loving God. It's not you should or you could. You are, and you will. So this is what I encourage you to do. You have little reminders, depending on how courageous you were, to pick 1 to 3, to go out and be salt. I want you to find where you can. And when you find a place that you are being salt for somebody, write the date on your little packet. Just the day, so like 9/12. If it's more than 32, we got to talk. And I want you to bring your packets back next Sunday, and we'll have a bucket. And I hope that when we go through, we will see that there are numbers on every last packet. And if you feel so emboldened, there'll be additional ones after worship. So go out and take and be salt. Share with people as you have been shared with. Let us see what we can do in our own lives to be as salty as Christians as we can possibly be. Let us see what we can do in our church life to make us a light upon the hill for all people. Let us share always.